insightful, but are you likable? You got jokes, you're the host, stand up. Are you likable?
Hello and welcome to Likeable, a show where we discuss stand-up comedy from an entry-level perspective. I am your host, David Stickle, and today I'm joined by nobody. I am recording here at the bar. I'm doing a quick little thing. I think this will be a shorter episode this week because it's the podcast's birthday, everybody. I don't even know. I mean, I might just release a regular episode along with this. I don't know. I've really not thought this through, but I figured it would be good for me to just acknowledge that this podcast has come out every week for the past year. There's way too much of me on the internet, I think, between my bad stand-up comedy, my stupid clips, and now me having conversations with comedians about silly things. So it's I'm not going to do that thing where they do like a TV show. How, like, remember how in like sitcoms where they would do like hey man, that was worse. It's not like they have a premise of the show where they get like locked in a closet or something like that, and they're like, man, this is worse than that time you did this, and he goes, I've never been like this, and all of a sudden he goes, really? And then it cuts back and it shows like all the montages of like different times. And anyways, that's what we're going to do here. I'm kidding. I don't have the patience or the technology to make clips like that. That would be way too much time of me. But I would like to, thank the listeners of this show. Like, you guys really make it happen. From what I'm told by the studio, there are at least several hundred listens a month. so there's no official number, but there's at least several hundred listens a month. And honestly, without that, I would still make this podcast. But it is nice that some people are listening to it. I do also want to thank everybody that has reached out and like mentioned stuff about an episode that maybe has helped them in the past, or that, some kind of, like, sometimes we have a guest on that is really experienced and really knows what they're talking about, and they share a little tidbit of information that really resonates with somebody. And that's kind of the reason why I do this show. It's like I'm trying to learn as much as I can about comedy to catch up and to really be as funny as possible. But like also, I do think it's cool that some people actually learn shit from this show, and that's what I think is really cool. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys feel that way too. Maybe you don't. Sound off in the comments. I'm kidding. Nobody comments on my shit. It's so bad. I know you guys are silent partners in all of this. When I say partners, I mean it's just really one-sided. That's fine. Sometimes I feel like I'm dating a portrait of a person, and you guys are the portrait, which is lovely. I didn't start this just to attack my listeners for this, but no, I really do enjoy doing this. So thank you to the listeners. Thank you to all the comedians that have come on the show. I don't pay anybody to come on the show, and I really have very limited exposure that the show has. So I do want to thank you guys as well. There's literally too many to list, but it is crazy that everybody makes time to come out and do this. And like, I've learned a lot from so many of you. If you still listen, I doubt you still do. You probably just listen to your episode and stop, but that's okay. I think it's really cool. Like, what I've learned about a lot of, they say comedians will learn about each other from listening to their other sets. And I think that's highly accurate. But then I'll learn real stuff about them, and then we'll get to record that and then share it for everybody to listen to. And I also think that's pretty cool. So thank you to the comics that have come on. That's been really cool. I feel like I'm losing steam, and it's only been almost 5 minutes, which is pretty sad. And I think the first 3 seconds of this I'm going to cut out because I'm just sighing, trying to get into this. But And then I do want to give a shout out to to my friends that have been reaching out. Like, you're kind of listeners, but out of obligation. So I do appreciate you guys for that. Phone's ringing in the background. I'm not going to answer it. It's probably spam. And then also just random exposure from other podcasts that I want to thank you guys about that too. Kay and Patrick, you guys, congrats on your engagement, by the way. Hell yeah. Thank you for doing all the shout outs for the Likeable podcast. You guys are really fluffing me up on your show, which is pretty cool. Super Salad. You don't really shout me out that often, but I do hear it every once in a while, Jay and Sean. But also, I just really enjoy listening to your show. And then a big thanks to the Great to Be Here pod with John Leary and Jacob Gleason, my two enemies in the podcast world. You guys drop my name at least once an episode. It's kind of interesting to listen and to be like, how is John Leary going to bring me up this week? And he, without fail, he brings me up. Actually, if he stops mentioning me, I'm going to send him a cease and desist on the ceasing and desisting of mentioning me. So, like Michael sent me a cease and desist for mentioning him in episodes. And, I'm not handling the breakup well, if I'm being honest with you. I missed the little guy. Got to have him back on soon. I should talk about other things. What I'm hoping to do for this podcast going forward is continue to be informational for everybody. I've got some cool guests lined up. I think I'm going to interview some really people that have made a name for themselves in the industry, but also I've got a guest that we're recording soon, but she's really taken a podcast from nothing to something. So it'd be cool for my fellow podcast that have listened to this so far, but also just like, I think it's interesting to hear people succeed. So, stuff like that. But yeah, some cool guests coming up. I'm very excited for these. I'm probably never going to do a solo episode again because this is painful. And then, I'm just going to, this is so weird just doing a solo episode, if I'm being honest with you. I've got my tablet off to the side here looking at notes that I wanted to talk about. And I didn't really have a lot of notes, but here we are. I do want to talk about the point of this podcast is to really kind of just be fun and to do that. We try not to talk shit about anybody, and if we do, it's kind of in a fun way, I think. But hopefully you learn stuff, and if anything, I'll try to share what I've learned. So this podcast's birthday is on my comedy birthday as well. I did that because it's easier to remember. But so stuff I've learned about stand-up comedy so far. I'm in no way an expert, and I'm realizing that I've got the wrong thing pulled up here. But things I'll just share is stuff that you can do if you're looking to get booked more, because that seems to be like a conversation in the Hudson Valley scene lately, and just in general. And I'm not a pro at this, but I do think I can have some tips to share with people. So my first note would be, like, if you have the time, if you're not on shows, go support other comedian shows. That's always a great thing to do. Sometimes they'll just throw you up to do like a guest spot out of appreciation. This happened to somebody I know recently. He went and checked out a spot and they threw him up. I'll say Keith Prince, great fucking guy. You listen to the show, I know that, but you're a great dude. You've done that for me before. But yeah, I mean, Keith is awesome. And, he'll do that. I try to do that with the Croaks. Sometimes I try to do that with other shows when I can. Sometimes the lineup's just a little too long and I try to keep the show like an hour 15. So sometimes that happens. But the other thing that I would mention, go to as many open mics as you can. I can't emphasize this enough. Different areas. If you think about it, there are maybe like 4 or 5 producers in the area that do shows regularly. If you do all 5 of those shows, those producers also have I can't speak for everybody, but I do know that I probably had at least 100 people in the last calendar year hit me up for spots. And I try to help as many people as I can. If I don't know you, you kind of go to the back of the list. People that I like, that I care about, that I think are funny. Like I really do try to find them spots. That is people that I really care about is like if you support me, if you've been friendly and if if you're a nice person. I think that's very important. If you're a nice person, I really do. And also, like, if I see you out there hustling, dude, like, I care about that. So, I mean, that's how I kind of work some of the bookings for that. But yeah, do different open mics in different areas because if there's only five producers in your area, and let's just say, one out of the five likes you, that's 20% of your market already. And that other 80% doesn't like you, then you have to go to another area to find hopefully another 20% that likes you there. And hopefully you can do it steadily enough and get more spots. You kind of have to travel a little bit for this. So, again, I don't know how fun this episode is going to be. I'm feeling very insecure at this moment. Yeah, so check out different open mics. Do support other comics. And then what I would recommend, and this is not fun, but I would recommend producing a show. If you want to, like, when I wanted to get more stage time and I wasn't getting booked, I found ways to make stage time. And not everybody has the things that I have. I have a job where I can do that, and then that also connects me to other places. But it's just about taking what you have and then asking to do more with it. Because it's really that's all we actually have is what we have, and then we have to make the most out of it. So, producing your own show, I think, is super important. I've seen so many comics start to do that, and I'm very proud of all of them. And I think it's really cool that our scene is growing. And the Hudson Valley scene, I still consider my scene. And, I really do think it's really cool to see what it's becoming. So please produce a show, see what it feels like. Maybe you'll understand the rejection aspect of it too, because I've asked for spots, I've gotten told no plenty of times, and I think being a producer of shows helps me understand that producer that I just asked for a spot from is probably getting hit up by so many people. And it's just the psychology of it, I think, is good to understand if you do it yourself and you know how much of a shit show it is and how important like being on time is. Because if you're producing a show and your acts don't show up until 2 minutes before the show, the producer is likely dealing with a ton of anxiety the whole time. Or just like waiting for a headshot from somebody so you can make a damn graphic is painful, especially if you've asked them twice or three times already. I'm not thinking of anybody specifically. That's the truth. Um, yeah, that's so produce your own shows. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, but I'll say it. I mean, be funny, work on your craft, do that kind of stuff. But I am in no way a judge of that. So, I just think we all just need to work on that because it's a joke. Is I just heard this from somebody this past weekend. A joke is never done. So we could always be funnier. We could always try to hit a new crowd. And I gotta imagine that there are some people that might be listening to this and being like, Dave, what are you doing? You've only been doing comedy for 2 years now. Like, what do you know? And that's fine. You can think that. That's cool. I'm just literally just trying to share information to help. And if it hits anybody with an idea, then, also if you want to ask me specific questions, because I'm kind of shitty when I'm by myself like this. You can. I like to think that I'm available to talk to, and the people want to ask me questions. Like I'll give you the best info that I can, and I really hope that nobody thinks I'm just trying to do this selfishly. This part probably feels a little selfish. It does to me, at least, because I'm just me right now. But I will say, like, I hope anybody that's ever interacted with me kind of realizes that I don't really just do a lot of shit just for me. I'm really trying to help out the community as best I can. Uh, And we're back. Okay, sorry, I had to find a different note section. This quickly turned into me being like a lecturer about stuff, and I'm sorry about that. But I do, as a thank you for everybody that listens. I hope you don't talk shit about this. I really hope some of this information helps you. Um, become a better comedian, or just get more spots if that's all you care about. I will say, like, a lot of people will just see the show dates that you post and they're like, oh man, you're doing so well, you're crushing it, like, and that is very nice to say, but that is just perception. um, and they think like, the guy's just got the one bit, and like I've definitely done this, like the guy's got the one bit, and he just gets booked everywhere doing that little bit. I'm working hard, I'm doing my own thing. But like I feel like that's just perception. Like I feel like a lot of people don't realize that this shit requires driving an hour each way to do a mic, and then just to do your five, and it requires interacting with people on social media. It requires being nice. It requires and what helps is like if you're a safe person to be around, like if you're a fucking shitty comic to women, and as speaking as a dude here, if you're a shitty comic to women as a dude, like we talk about that, like that's not okay. And I really think that you got to be mindful of that. If you're somebody that you know gets sloppy drunk and does your shit, and like really doesn't put a lot together, then that's also something people think about you. And it just there's definitely hobbyists. I think Josh Tinley and I just talked about this. There's definitely hobbyists in the community, and if you just want to go up and do that, that's fine, but please don't do that and then also like talk shit about people who are putting in the time to drive to New Jersey, to fucking go down to New York and try that kind of stuff. Like it's uh boy, this is really turning into a lecture about dumb stuff. I'm gonna uh I don't know, I should end this soon, but I don't know. I do want to thank a couple people again, because there was people. When it comes to producing shows, I do need to thank a few people. You know, uh, First off, Danny Mendez, thank you so much, dude. When I started the Croak shows, I had no idea what to do, and Danny came in with the Croak. He showed me how to set up a lineup, how to do it based off of like the vibe of that kind of show, and like what you want outcome wise. Helped me a lot learning how to host. But Danny, thank you so much. I think you're getting back into comedy. I'm very excited about this, and just know that like I've not forgotten all the help that you've given me. I appreciate you. And also, thank you to Kevin, Kevin Ludlow, also been on this show, and Kevin's also helped me very much with producing shows, figuring shit out when it comes to that, different perspectives on producing. I think I only learned from Danny, so then seeing some different perspective on hosting, a different way to do it, also very helpful. It really, Danny and I did the free shows, and Kevin showed me how to do like ticketed shows. So that just like good perspective to have on how to do things. So that's really appreciated. So I appreciate both of you guys. I think I've posted on my Instagram the time and all that kind of shit that goes in there to doing these things. And I really don't know how much I enjoy this episode, if I'm being honest. This is not ideal for me. And this is, I'm like trying to fill in with time. Yeah, I don't think this is that good of an episode. Um, yeah, maybe this isn't that fun. I don't know. I I think this podcast has shown me a lot of really cool things about people, and I think that uh, and a lot of people don't know this, but especially the listeners. But if we have a guest on the podcast, um, it's not just the conversation that's being recorded; it's the conversation before, it's the conversation after. We catch up on a lot of stuff, and I think that's really cool. So I appreciate those like heart to hearts that I often get to have with comedians before and after a show. It's usually more after, we kind of wrap things up, and then it's like, oh, like I really want to talk about this, or we kind of just share information. So I just think it's this podcast has been really cool for that. And I will say, because it is also the comedy birthday, the comedy to me has been very challenging. And a lot of people might think it just came off easy or anything like that. I don't know, perception wise what it is. But I will say it's been really challenging. There's been a lot of time committed to it. There's been a lot of, you face a lot of rejection when you do comedy. It's very hard. And it's also like my favorite thing to do. So like, it's weird, but I will say that since starting comedy, like these past 2 years, I don't know if I've ever felt more like I'm being myself than when I'm doing this. And it just feels like something I've always wanted to do. So like, I hope you guys feel that way too. If you don't, that's okay. It doesn't have to be your thing. I'm just really glad you're listening, if I'm being honest. But I do, I appreciate being able to do comedy, and I appreciate people listening and supporting and coming to the shows and telling me about bits that really resonated with them. And I appreciate meeting new comedians and hearing their jokes, and just like a lot of different shit, man. It's really cool. I can't emphasize enough how cool this whole thing is, and how like grateful I am that I get to be a part of this. It's cool to check out the different scenes, like the Rhinebeck Kingston area, the Capital Region, New York City, just and those are just mine. Like I just discovered the New Jersey scene a little bit this past week. Jess DeCanto put me on her show down there and in Jersey City, and shout out Jess DeCanto. And it's just a cool little community, and it exists everywhere. And I really do think we're lucky to be a part of it. So I'm probably going to wrap up this episode. This might go straight to YouTube, not even get promoted. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This is going to be a straight to DVD feature. And yeah, again, thank you. It just felt appropriate to do a year wrap up for this show. I'm going to do my best to keep the episodes coming on a regular basis. I would love feedback, though you've probably tuned out by now. I would love feedback on how we like this show so far. I would love to be more silly, if I'm being honest with you. I would love to be better at doing solo episodes. This is a nice little first step, I think. And, sometimes instead of booking a guest, I might end up doing this and just like telling a story or something like that. I think I'll get into that a little bit more too. Just depends on how comfortable I get with this kind of stuff. And also how awkward this is. I'm doing this at the bar, and there's people walking by, like looking in the window, and they're just seeing me talk to my, I think they think I'm on a Zoom meeting, if I'm being honest. I've got two screens up, fucking very nerdy right now. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody that's listened so far. And I've mentioned a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that have really supported me along the way. You know who I'm talking about. Thank you, B. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Trav. Thank you to. It feels weird to mention people because then it feels like you're leaving others out. But yeah, thank you to everybody that's listened to this podcast. I'm looking for sponsors still. Several hundred listeners. I can't wait to get an actual number so I can, be able to pitch real things to people to get sponsors. I've not made a dime off this show, but it has been pretty awesome, I'll just say, so far. So I'm doing it for the love of the game, guys, and I'm going to keep doing it for the love of the game. But believe me, there were times this year where parents were in the hospital, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, I don't have another episode banked. And then I would just do an episode just to do an episode. And then to entertain you people. So please support it, because I'm doing my best. And that's really all I can do. It's comics that listen to this. If it comes off as like preachy or like a big dog kind of thing, I'm really sorry. That's not really my intention. I'm really just trying to share information. There's a dude standing right there. I'm just trying to share information and, And again, reach out if you have questions. Like, I would love to share more info specifically. Maybe get a writing group together because my writing is starting to suck. That would be cool. But yeah, I, I want to give back to the community. Comedy has been really awesome to me. I hope that translates, and I would love to give back to everybody if I can. So I think you've had enough of me doing a solo episode. So yeah, we're gonna cue that music.
Yeah, you got jokes and you're insightful, but are you likable?